อ さん。Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Let me go down. I want to be a pirate.
「